that is going to change your trajectory. If you've never watched this content, if you haven't explored the Apex Christian journey, this is the video that changes everything. You were brought to this video for a reason. This is a day of choosing. You may not get this opportunity again. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment below, and do all the stuff that you need to do as a YouTube watcher. All right. I want you in this video to ask yourself, who am I? What am I capable of? What did God put me here to do? So who are you? What are you capable of? What did God put you here to do? If you don't choose who you are, guess what? The world will. The world will choose a weak, gummy worm existence for you. And you can complain and cry and be a victim and ask for pity about it, or you can choose to be who God made you to be. That's what makes us Apex. That's what makes us God's favorite. That's what makes us God's chosen. In the book of Jesus, in the Old Testament, for those of you who are gummy worm Christians, you may not know this book of Jesus. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Jesus. The word Joshua or Yahshua or Yeshua is Jesus. Jesus is the Greek version of that book. But anyway, in the book of Jesus, the 24th chapter, 14 through 15 verse, it says, "Now therefore fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and faithfulness." Fear the Lord just means take regard of God. Accept the reality, the truth of God. Know God. John 17:3. "Put away the gods that your fathers served beyond the river in Egypt, and serve the law of creation, the supreme law, which is the Lord, Yahweh." So when it says put away the gods that your fathers served beyond the river, in Egypt, the word Egypt is Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim. Mitzrayim is a personification of struggle, of limitation, of restriction. So this verse is saying, serve the I am, the totality, the substrate of reality, and let go of the restrictions that your predecessors gave you. Serve the Lord only. "And if it is evil in your eyes to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods of your father who served in the region beyond the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But as for me and my house," this is what Joshua said, Yeshua said, "but as for me and my house, as for me and my body, as for me and my physical vehicle, we will serve the law, the eternal law, the Lord of creation, Yahweh, the eternal one, the source of all things, the Most High God." Read that in the book of Jesus, chapter 24, verse 14 through 15. And those of you who are new here, it's in the book of Joshua, chapter 24, verses 14 through 15. Got some activity here. All right, Cameron, thank you so much. Sophia, hello and welcome back. I think I remember you. And I've had other Sophias here, so if you're new to this, thank you for joining. We're talking about who you are, what you're capable of, and what God put you here to do. We are God's chosen. Yes, we are favored by God. God has favorites. God has favorites. Okay? So choose what identity you're going to honor and serve. This verse in the book of Joshua, or the book of Jesus, chapter 24, 14 and 15, is talking about choosing who you'll serve. Which I am, which identity are you going to align with? Which identity are you going to say, this is who I am? Are you going to say you're a gummy worm, a loser, everyday ordinary person? Or are you going to say, I'm a child of the Most High God. I am a chosen person on this earth. Well, there's responsibilities that come with that. You can't say you're chosen and then walk over everyone else and treat them like, like nothing. That's not what God's chosen do. So don't get it twisted. We are here to serve humanity by serving God and ourselves first, and then everything else after that. So choose what identity you will honor and serve. What life will you live and enjoy? You've got to choose today. Okay? So by the end of this video, you'll know how to choose, create, and activate your apex self. So stay tuned. This message will change everything. It will change your life. All right? We're going to get into the introduction. We're actually going to talk about how God actually does have favorites. God has favorites. And you get pissed off by that? Well, you just revealed that you are not one of God's favorites. Go somewhere else. We don't want you here. All right? Not because we're better than you, but because you're a distraction. And we do not waste time on distractions. There's no time for you. I don't have time. None of the God's favorites have time. We are focused, we are determined, and we get done what we were sent here to do. And then we leave when we're done. We go back home to our Father. I got some activity. Okay. We're not even going to say hi to that person. All right. Strange Wave, keep it up, man. Stay blessed. I'm scrolling on. Hey, thank you for joining. Drop a like before you leave. Thank you for the like. All right. I think, okay. Okay, Think Knife Kid, looks like you got a good question here. And I'm going to turn up my light so I can actually see it. So, Think Knife Kid says, I struggle a lot with desires of my flesh. I have periods in my life where I obey God while fighting my temptations for a while, but then I fall out. Man, it's hard. Putting an end to all sins, it's a struggle. Listen, don't buy into the lies of the church. You don't have a fight against your flesh, bro. If you're a bro, okay? Hey, Mia. I always got to say hi to you, my love. All right. Bastian says, praise God. And then Auntie K says, hello. So listen, man. Listen, Knife Kid. You do not have a struggle with your flesh, man. If you are chosen of God, God is going to use your flesh as a tool of speaking to you. So let go of the identity in which you have a struggle with your flesh. Don't do that. You're beyond that. Listen, I don't know how old you are, and so I'm not going to go into a lot of details about this, but listen, there are things in the world that can be very tempting. And I'm going to use terms that are going to make it possible for younger viewers not to be negatively impacted. So things like content online that is not positive but is sexual in nature. All right. If you feel like you're judging yourself for looking at that kind of stuff, or you're judging yourself for doing activities that are not to your best benefit, God doesn't judge you. He's already covered all of humanity through the sacrifice of Christ. So don't get on that church trip. That's a satanic thing. Oh, my flesh, my flesh. No, don't do that. God doesn't judge you. Who are you to judge yourself? God doesn't blame you. Who are you to blame yourself? Christ covers you. Let it go. Stop judging and beating yourself up. And the other thing, okay? If that's your concern, all right? So forgive yourself and move on. Don't buy into the lies of the church. That's a satanic Christian church. I have a whole video on it. If you like, share, subscribe, you will find that video where I discuss the problems with the satanic Christianity. There's a lot of satanic Christianity. And again, I'm not against Satanism, not against Satan's, not against the satanic Christians. I'm just saying, look, we separate ourselves from that. We separate ourselves from that, okay? We don't fight gnats. We don't fight gummy worms. We don't fight ants. We just step over them and keep it moving. So don't judge yourself. Don't tear yourself down. Think Knife Kid. Just love yourself and see yourself as perfect as God sees you. Forgive yourself every single time you fall because God's already done that. Get in line with God. Agree with God, okay? So let's get into it. God has favorites, y'all. And if you do a Google search on God's favorites, Google will lie to you, like the church, and they'll say, oh, God, the Bible doesn't encourage favoritism, because they don't want you to know the truth, okay? I'm going to tell you the truth. God has favorites. God has favorites. We're God's favorites, okay? Well, you think God was just as happy with the Amorites as he was with the Israelites? The Israelites were his chosen people. That's why the Bible calls them the chosen. The problem is that one little tiny group of Israelites called Judeans, who later became another group of people, said, we're the best people in the world. Okay, yeah, you are the best people, but uh, as long as you choose the power of God within your life. So everybody can choose that. Just that 99.99999% of people don't. And because you're watching this, because you're understanding this, because you're getting what's being channeled to you here, you're one of that 0.0001% that is God's chosen. So I'm going to give you some Bible verses that demonstrates God has his chosen. He has his favorites. And you can actually be one of us. All right. 1 Peter 2 verse 9. And by the way, the Bible is extremely esoteric and very symbolic. 2 plus 9 is 11. The 11 is the number of the illuminator, the master illuminator. Look it up. All right. So anyway, 1 Peter 2:9. It says this, but ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a whole and holy nation, a peculiar people. Does that sound like regular blokes? Does that sound like Joe Blows? Does that sound like, oh, I'm down with the people? No, you're not down with the people. Okay? You're a chosen, special people. And it goes on in 1 Peter 2:9 to say, that ye should shew forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. What a beautiful verse. And now let's go to the Old Testament, to the book of Deuteronomy. This is full of promises to God's chosen. All right, Deuteronomical laws, the Levitical laws. When you live in expression of those laws, you are embodying God's power and you're favored by God. But anyway, in Deuteronomy 7, verse 6, it says, for thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Does that sound like God doesn't have favorites? I don't know about you. I can read English. Google apparently can't. So God has chosen thee as a special people unto himself. And it's not talking about the children of Israel, big quotes. The children of Israel is a term to describe the chosen. Every single human on earth that breathes air and thinks with a brain is potentially a child of Israel, one of the children of Israel. When Moses left Egypt, this is right in the Bible. People don't, again, the church, you got to be real careful with the church. It's very satanic. The people who left Egypt were referred to not as the children of Israel, but as a mixed multitude. They were Amorites, Edomites, Philistines. Well, not Philistines. They weren't around yet. Amorites, Edomites, Canaanites. Of course, the children of Israel were Canaanites, the children of Israel. So there was a mixed multitude. Nubians, Cushites. It was actually Cushites at the time. Anyone who was limited by restriction, by fear, by self-doubt, by self-judgment, by blame and shame, they were all leaving that. God is saying, I've called you all. There's no Jew or Gentile, Greek or whatever. And so there's a lot of confusion when people are reading the Bible. They think, uh, uh, the children of Israel were people that called themselves Israelites or something like that. Okay, first of all, anyway, I'm not going to get into the history of all this stuff. But when you do the deep research, you start to realize there's far more to the story than we want to admit. Okay, so yes, God does have favorites. Yes, God does have chosen. And if you choose to be one of God's chosen, many are called, but few are chosen. The chosen ones are those who respond to the call. God calls many people. Not everybody answers. Jesus also says, the Bible is full of this, guys. Psalms 82, verse 6. Ye are gods and children of the Most High, but you shall wither as a blade of grass. But it says, ye are gods. All right. It also Jesus goes on and says, this is the supreme law of God. In John 10, 34 and 35. Guys, it's right there in the Bible. If your pastor's not teaching this to you, that's because he's of the synagogue of Satan. And it's okay. It's okay for him to be the synagogue of Satan. Nothing wrong with it. There's followers of Satan. And again, nothing wrong with them. You just got to choose you this day who you're going to serve. All right. Serve restriction, serve a limitation. Fine. Go ahead. Be that. But you're not apex by definition. And then finally, we're going to look at Exodus 19:6. Again, guys, this is all biblically based. And ye shall be a kingdom of priests and a holy nation, or an holy nation. All right. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. This is what God told Moses to say to the children of Israel. You're special. You're favored. You're chosen. All right. So just read Deuteronomy, Isaiah, throughout the whole Bible. God is just constantly talking about, hey, I got special people. I got favored people. There are people that I favor above others. Okay? And you can join us. So God demands perfection of his favored children. He favors the apex children. And more than that, he favors the apex you. He favors the version of you that is apex. The version of you that is perfect. Not the groveling gummy worm version, but the apex self. The version of you that is clear. The version of you that is enthusiastic and confident. The version of you that is aligned with the divine law of heaven. That's who God favors. And everyone has that in them. But some people have chosen to be a gummy worm. And you can't, don't, again, no hate. We bless them. We love them. We don't waste time with them. We don't spend a lot of time listening to their inane stories. We don't, we don't build long-term relationships with them that impact our journey. Okay. How can two walk together lest they be agreed? Amos 3:3. Got to check that out. All right. So God demands perfection. He's made you perfect. He just demands that you be yourself. Okay. The world, the church included, wants you to be weak, small, stupid, and easy to control. Again, nothing wrong with that. I'm not judging it. I'm saying what it is. No one's pointing it out, except for here on Apex Humanity or Apex Christianity. All right. And so again, other people are going to say, "Oh, the church is irrelevant," and it is. But um, I'm saying there's nothing wrong with it. It's for somebody. It's not for God's elect. Okay. And go to church. Love church. I go to church once or twice a year, maybe once every 2 years, right? But I live that. I live church every day. Every breath I take is a breath unto God. So, um, it's just a lifestyle now. I don't need church. Okay. Fellowshipping with believers, yeah, that could be anybody. All right. It could be anybody. Anyone who believes in that higher source and believes in their higher self, meaning their highest, best version of themselves. Anybody who believes in the highest, best version of themselves is my fellow Christian, Apex Christian. So God made you powerful and dangerous to the God of this world. So today, choosing your apex self isn't about evolving. It's not about getting better. It's not about all of that stuff that tells you you're not good enough. God never said that. That was Satan. Again, nothing wrong with Satan. I keep saying this because I want you guys to understand that Satan is not the big enemy. God has no enemies. God has no enemies. Think about it. Like the creator of the universe, the most powerful, omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, all-knowing, all-powerful, all-present, creates everything from himself. He spits out reality from his own, existence. And then one of the little tiny specks does something he designed it to do. And then he goes, "Oh no, oh myself, oh my God, oh myself. Oh, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna go war. I'm gonna go war with this little speck." If you believe in a God that goes to war with a speck, then you don't believe in the Most High God. You believe in, a Dalaboth or, some little tiny satanic God. Again, nothing wrong with that. That's just not what we do. Okay? So, like I said, today you got to choose your apex self. Today, we're going to wake that version up. So let's bring your apex self online. Let's activate that apex self. There are 5 steps to do it. We're going to get into it. We'll be quick about it. All right. So number 1, you got to see the gap between who you are being today and who God has created you to be. Okay? Who you are is not about who you were born to be. Your apex self is here right now. Listen to this video. Your apex self is here, completely formed, completely online. It's just a matter of you accepting it and expressing it. Okay? So you got to name the gap. So that's where the shift starts. You got to say, okay, today I feel bad about, let me make something up. Oh, let's use the knife kid. Yeah, one of us. Hello, Auntie K. The knife kid says, "I struggle a lot with desires in my flesh." Okay, well, not your apex self. Your apex self doesn't care about that. Your apex self isn't even impacted by that. Your apex self doesn't even think about that because it's not it's not the problem of your apex self. Your highest self, that version of you that God made, is not walking around on a cloud, holy, 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 right? No, you're not walking around a cloud like a dead ghost. You're here for real in the world, making things happen, changing the world, shining bright like the sons of God, like the morning star. So, name the gap between your apex self and what you see in the mirror. If you see a loser in the mirror, time to let that go. So, first of all, see the gap. Understand, who am I today in comparison to who I was meant to be? Uh, do I shrink myself down so that other people don't feel uncomfortable with my greatness? Am I uncomfortable being the best version of myself because I'm afraid I'm going to be ostracized, or I'm going to be left alone, or people aren't going to be nice to me anymore? Got to ask yourself that. So if your best version of you let's make some, makes the grades you want to make, or makes the money you want to make, or lives in the house or the community you want to live in, or has the partner you want to have, or has the health that you want to have, or has the influence you want to have. If that version exists and that's the version you're going for, and you're not that person, well, understand the gap. Understand the gap between those two. That's the first step. Let's get into it. The second step is you've got to choose to merge. Your apex identity is another person if you're not that person today. Now, when I say another person, I know I said, oh, okay, we're not about being or growing or evolving. No, it's another person. It's another identity. You could say it's an alter ego that is fully formed. That's what I'm trying to get at here. Your full self is fully formed, confident, clear, uncompromising, unapologetic, loving, truly loving, evidence-based, compassionate, rationally selfish, self-transcendent, morally objective, virtuous on the inside. Okay? And so that powerful divine version of you is fully formed, it fully exists. Okay? If you don't see that in the mirror, then you have to understand that whoever you see in the mirror right now, it's got to go. You got to let that person go. As a matter of fact, there's all kinds of studies on crafting identities, crafting identity, crafting identity. I said that 3 times. Pay attention. All right. So you got to act now. Don't just act, by the way. Be that person. Okay. And by the way, that person already exists. You can tap into it. There's exercises. Check out Apex Prayer. It's in the link in the description to this video, the full video, not the short. All right. So that means talking, moving, dressing, breathing, thinking, feeling, and acting like that apex self. If your lower self wears clothes that are tattered and cheap and dirty because you are afraid to invest in your appearance, invest in your beauty, invest in your exceptionalism, take care of that beautiful body God gave you, well, guess what? That person's got to go. You need to invest in you. You got to invest in your time. You got to invest in your, like, how do you speak? Do you speak quiet so that nobody will hear that you might have said the wrong word? Or do you speak with a powerful, commanding tone? Male or female, doesn't matter. Do you speak with confidence? Do you speak with clarity? Well, guess what? The apex you does already. He doesn't have to practice. She doesn't have to learn. They don't have to. You're remembering. Okay, you're remembering. You're taking all of those parts that have been destroyed by society and all. They're never destroyed by society. Society is not that weak to destroy you, but parts that you have given up so that the world can feel comfortable around you. Okay, so that means that you are going to tap into that identity and you are going to merge. You're basically going to merge. So you have to make the decision to align with and merge with this version of you until the old mask that you've been wearing is gone, dies away. Okay? And then the third step is you got to create the identity. Again, when I say create, I should probably use a word like maybe merge. I guess I use the word merge. But the word create is you're bringing something out of the ether of reality. It's already there. Your apex self already exists. So you're creating actually a portal between who you are now and who you are in your biggest, most apex self. So acting like you, talking, dressing, acting like them, all that stuff is identifying this individual that is on the other side of this pathway, this portal. You're not necessarily looking for them. They're here. You just have to tap into that and activate that power within you. And the fourth thing is very important. We'll spend some time on this one. Is your apex self has certain boundaries. And so you have to set boundaries. And the boundaries that your apex self has. Let's say you're a young lady and you've been taken advantage of many times by previous boyfriends or by people in your life, and you don't like that. Now, you're not a victim, so you're not going to cry at everybody about it because you move beyond that, right? Because the girl who was taken advantage of, she gets to cry and be a crybaby and be pitiful about her past terrible experiences. But the apex version of you said, you know what, I really didn't like those things. And guess what? They had nothing to do with me. So I'm going to let go of that past, throw it in the trash where it belongs, let all the birds have it. And I am now this person who is powerful, who overcame those challenges, and am the exceptional self. What kind of boundaries do I set up with the people in my life that lets them know I won't take any more BS bad science, bad spirituality from the world. I don't have time for it. I am God's favorite. I am God's chosen. I am a child of the Most High God. What am I going to no longer let into my space, my life? All right. So this means that you have to live by a divine structure, and you must honor the divine law as it applies to you. And so you know that by how your gut and your inner self feels. So let's say you're in that, let's go back to that girl who's been taken advantage of. She had a hard life, whatever. And she's letting men take advantage of that sort of a thing. And now she's saying, you know what? That's not who I am anymore. Okay, she's in a relationship with a boyfriend who consistently has taken advantage of her. He didn't know. She didn't do a good job of setting boundaries and saying this is my consent. This is what I prefer from life. And so guess what? Now she does that because she's no longer the girl that was taken advantage of. She's now the powerful, present daughter of the Most High who has boundaries. And if you violate those boundaries, you lose access to me as a person. It's that simple. I don't have to beat you up or fight you or anything like that. I don't have to go to war with you. I just say, these are my boundaries as a young lady. And if you cross those, the consequence is we don't have a relationship anymore. And she says, look, I'm going to let you know these are my boundaries. Boyfriends used to taking advantage or overcrossing those boundaries. He crosses the boundaries. Oh, hey, guess what? Have a nice night, Bobby. We're not hanging out tonight. That's simple. But you see, the old girl, I just don't feel comfortable and it hurts, man. No, the new lady is, well, this is just a boundary. It is what it is. And now he's like, wait, I don't know you anymore. I used to be able to do this, and I don't know you anymore. I used to get that in a relationship I was in. I used to get violated constantly because it was an abusive relationship. I'm not saying the person was necessarily, but the nature of the relationship was abusive. So I was no longer compatible with the relationship. So when I set up boundaries and said, this far and no further, and the person overstepped those boundaries, and I said, okay, well, see, now that you've overstepped that boundary, I have to back up because this is not a relationship anymore. I can't be around that. Oh, I don't know you anymore. I don't know you. Get used to hearing that. I don't know you anymore. I don't know who you are. Yeah, they don't know you. They know that gummy worm version of you that was dead and afraid and let everybody walk all over them. So when you take this fourth step of setting boundaries, that means no more drama. That means no chaos, no distractions, no losers, no pity loops, no blame, no shame, no guilt. And that's the same with you. If you are a young man, you say, I stick by my word, I keep my word, okay? One, you're going to say less promises because you're going to have to fulfill that. The second thing is you're going to say, you know what? I'm not going to violate myself by breaking my law, my word, as a woman or a man. And so setting boundaries is owning your apex self, taking on that power of God as God's favorite, and setting those boundaries and saying, yep, this is just what it is. You have a problem with it, you can go eat a bag of beans because I ain't got time for it. All right? So honor what God has created in you, and the Most High will protect what He gave and put into you. All right? And finally, this is the transition, the transitional step. You got to make the shift. You've got to make the transition. You must let go of who you think you are based on what your parents, society, the world told you. And you got to let that person die. And let this new being who's always been here, you're just remembering this being, come to the forefront. This is a new identity. To be God's favorite, you must let the mask die. People will look at you, and again, you're going to hear it all the time. I don't know you anymore. I don't know who you are anymore. I can't tell. You're going to hear that all the time. And you're not even going to be impacted by it. You're like, okay, well, I'm glad that you shared your feelings with me. I really appreciate you being emotionally aware because it has nothing to do with me. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with me. Is there anything else you want to share with me? I'll listen as long as it doesn't violate my path, as long as it doesn't get in the way of where I'm going. Okay, if this is too much for me, that's a boundary. Hey, look, I love you with God's love. It's probably the last time we're ever going to interact. Have a nice life. All right? Now, if that hurts someone, you're not being intentionally hurtful. As children of the Most High God, as God's favorites, we're not out there to hurt people. We've got a mission. We are the fifth or sixth virtue. We're the fifth or sixth order of angels. We're the virtues that come into this world as humans. We're here to build God's kingdom on the earth, bring beauty into the world that God can only bring through us. So angels can't do what you're doing. So you're very special. 144,000, God's chosen, God's elect. You got to own that. It's not something you can waste time on. It's not something you can play with. This is not, listen, guys, it's go time. We do not have time to be flubbering around and playing like we're gummy worms. We don't have that time anymore. The golden age is upon us. And we are building the foundations of God's divine kingdom. And so, look, you can play the gummy worm game. But right now, it's for me and my house, like Jesus said in the book of Jesus, chapter 24, verse 14 through 15. It's for me and my house. As for me and my house, the temple of God, we are going to serve the Lord, the I Am, the Eternal One, the Most High, El Shaddai, Adonai, Elohim. We are Elohim, right? The forces. That is who we will serve. So at this fifth and final step, you're going to rise as the real you. Your apex self is your default. You're just returning to your ultimate self. You're dropping the mask, and now you are the woman, the man of God that you were meant to be. So this means thinking and feeling as your apex self. The things that bothered the mask, the fake version of you that everybody felt comfortable with, they don't bother you anymore. The things that you let slide as the fake version of you, as the masked version of you, guess what? Those things you're not letting slide anymore. People are offended, people are hurt. Guess what? They can go eat a bag of beans. Okay? So, in conclusion, you're not becoming someone new. You're becoming the you that you always were. Apex you, the apex Christian, the apex child of the Most High God, the apex human in you is the chosen one, the favored one, the one who is ready to receive and accept and acknowledge all the good that God has for you. You got a mission on this earth. You have a mission here. You have a job here. God has the tools for you to get that job done. But if you're wearing a mask and being a pretending, fake, sad, broken, gummy worm person, God can't. God's like, where is my child? Where is my child? Look at the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. God was looking for them in the garden. God couldn't see them. Now, it's an allegory, guys. God's not stupid or blind. Again, it's not like that. God's not a magical fairy either. The idea is that your highest self, the I Am, Yahweh, uh, the Elohim, the forces, uh, this powerful spark that comes from Atum, the Eternal One, it cannot locate its medium, its channel, its child, its holy favorite child. When you're playing pretend and put on the camouflage and painting yourself as if you're something else. It's time for you to be what you were put here to be. This is only for the apex children of the Most High God. The apex you is chosen, favored, and ready to bring God's beauty into this world. We are building heaven, one golden brick at a time. So now is the time that you choose. Let go of the mask. It'll be easy because you're just remembering, recalling who you really are. Make sure you do this before the door closes. Stay apex.